Guys, welcome back. We have a really special guest today to talk to us about a project we have been involved with for many years now. A little bit of, people have been nervous about this project, but we have some really exciting updates. Scoriox, thank you so much for taking the time to come out and talk to us, man.
Of course, I'm looking forward to it. I always love talking about Web3 gaming, crypto gaming, or whatever else. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys have for me.
I hope everyone appreciates that Scoriox, in my opinion, is the leading source of information, both overview alpha, but also the minute details of the economy and the tokenomics of Illuvium. So we will have Scoriox's YouTube channel linked in the video description. If you have any questions ever about Illuvium, past, present, future, infinity, get on his channel. Do the YouTube stuff, like, subscribe, ring the bells, and all that stuff. But seriously, if you have any questions about Illuvium, I guarantee you he's made a video with the answer.
Well, not quite, because the game keeps changing. It's so funny you say that. I was seeing some people on Twitter the other day. They were like, "Oh, I'm having so much trouble learning the Illuvium Gauntlet, right, which is the big game mode at the moment." And they were like, "Are there any guides out there?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I've got like 3, but they're all out of date now. They're all so wrong. I need to make another one." It's just. Oh, it's a little bit of a headache, but I'm looking forward. I'm working on it soon, but I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, sometimes questions unanswered because stuff changes,
And now here we are. 2 days ago, they just had another
new update
town hall meeting, and a bunch of stuff changed again. So, guys, that's what we're going to be kind of talking about today. We're going to be getting into kind of some of the stuff that was talked about at the Illuvium town hall meeting, and there are a ton of huge updates and stuff we're really excited about. So. I guess the best place to start is Scoriox. What was your favorite update from the new town hall meeting?
Which one? There's been a lot of them, but the MMO Lite one, right?
And also not the one tomorrow, because there's another one tomorrow.
And there's another one tomorrow, so we'll have to figure something out.
Yes. There's the Kieran Warwick one tomorrow. So the one that was recent was the MMO Lite one. So the main dev of the main director of the MMO Lite, called Stephen, he came on with Roger, who's the co-director, and they talked about all the changes and updates and things coming to the MMO Lite and where the progress and things are at. The one with Kieran tomorrow is more about everything else: arena, runway, tokenomics, that sort of stuff. But the MMO Lite's really where everyone's focused on. So so that's the good thing. The biggest, so there were 2 things that stood out. It was the first time we got to hear a lot about the lore of Illuvium, which is pretty interesting. I do want to make a dedicated video to it. I wouldn't really do it justice trying to just riff it off right here, but basically Arlen, which is the female character in the cinematic trailer, she basically caused them to crash land in some way because she felt she was called to this planet that is not actually Illuvium, which I thought was really interesting. So they're actually trying to find Illuvium, and they've crash landed on somewhere on the way. We don't have any further details on that. My personal theory is they're on like a moon of Illuvium, and it's some sort of protective thing. I only say that because they still call the creatures alluvials, which, unless it was related to the planet Illuvium directly, would be a little bit odd. But
well, I mean,
yes, that's my point.
We called people in North America Indians because we thought we were in the East Indies. So you can be wrong, and it'll just stick. So
someone did make,
there you go.
Someone did make that comment, but I think they know they're not on Illuvium. But if they didn't know, then I would totally understand that as well, for sure.
Okay, fair.
And the second thing that stood out, where they talked a little bit about some of the mechanics of the game itself. One in particular, because I had a particular concern. I could be quite critical of Illuvium, which some people like, most people enjoy, but some people dislike. But I can be overly hyped about Illuvium as well, which a lot of people seem to dislike.
You're very balanced.
That means
I try to be balanced,
passionate about it, and you care about its outcome.
And so do we. This is a big reason why we've been in Illuvium for years, and I know you have too. You and the Wildfire Guild as well. We'll put their link in the channel for you guys also to check them out. But we've loved Illuvium since the beginning. We're very excited about all these updates. But
I bought my first Illuvium token at $560.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
That's how long I've been in.
Token's down. A lot of changes are being made. People are thirsty for these developments and these updates, and it's and it's understandable. But the thing is, they're showing a lot of progress. The biggest thing for me that I noticed from the MMO town hall was essentially that they're adding dungeons. So our group, we play another Web3 game called Big Time, where, you know, we go in as groups of 6, we're fighting dungeons, we get to a boss, we beat it, we get our loot, everyone's happy. So the idea that they're doing these dungeons is important because it improves on the social aspect of the game. I think it was Steven that was talking about this. There needs to be some kind of, you know, chat, there needs to be dungeons, there needs to be party systems. To make the game more fun. I mean, one of the biggest things that was cool to me is that they are revamping the overworld. So before,
which was already beautiful.
Yeah, before overworld was, you know, for lack of a better word, and this goes back to what Scoriox says about being overly critical. I thought it was super boring. I thought it was really, really boring to go shoot the alluvial, have it, you know, freeze, and then you go in and you use your shard, and then you're going into an instance where you battle, and then you catch it. It was very much like Pokemon, which is okay, but it just wasn't fun. So
it's not enough. Like that,
yeah, so the
that
idea
can't be
that
all there is to the game.
Yeah, they're making it almost roguelike in Overworld, where you're going in, you're attacking these creatures, and you're actually interacting with the Overworld in new, exciting ways. So to me, that was a really cool thing to see.
Because I always knew they would update the combat systems, add more things to do and stuff like that. So I was never really too worried about that. My biggest concern was that they're not going to actually innovate enough on the creature capture genre. Okay. That's important in any game to break into any industry. But we saw when Palworld innovated on the Pokemon formula, it blew up to 30 million downloads in a week.
Exploded. Right?
There is demand for it, but you have to do something new. And my concern was that Illuvium wasn't really doing that. Sure, it's an MMO and a creature capture combined, but MMOs technically always have had that, okay? In an MMO, you have the hunter class in World of Warcraft, for example. I was afraid that Illuvium was just going to be everyone plays the hunter class. Now, you have the different skill trees and things like that, which are going to help. But even in an MMO like World of Warcraft, you have skill trees and things like that. So it's the exact same game, and that had me concerned. But the way I saw Roger talking about a few different things about ways they're actually changing this up and making it more interesting got me truly excited. One in particular is where he talked about that there's going to be some sort of mini game where you're actually trying to capture an alluvial. Now, Palworld system was quite simple, and I actually really like Palworld system, but he was talking about it more like it was Monster Hunter, where you hit an alluvial in a certain spot, or certain alluvials just behave differently, and then a wound opens up on a monster in Monster Hunter, and you have to attack that wound to get extra damage and things like that.
Yeah.
It sounds like that's almost what the catching minigame is going to be like. And it sounds like a really simple, small thing, but if it's fun to play, it's something you cannot get in any other game that exists. And that is what Illuvium needs more of.
It needs something interesting and not boring.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, guys. It's again, it comes back to the game didn't have enough meat, so to speak. And I think we're really finally kind of getting to that point because you know, getting back to, you know, people talking about, you know, the token price, and you know, that's a harsh area of discussion for a lot of people because the token is down so much. But to me, it was expected because, like what Scoriox brought up a really good point about these other games that have done this really well. Think about Pokemon Go. I mean, I personally spent like $200-300 on Pokemon Go, and I still have it on my phone. So like, people will spend money and put money into these games with no expectation of getting anything out. But unfortunately, in its previous state, the game just wasn't fun enough for people to justify putting money into it. There was more money coming out of the game than there was going into it. And this was brought up at the town hall, which you know, was something that we talked about yesterday in our last video. So it was so cool to see them you know, really discuss it. But there needs to be, you know, $3 going into the game and then $2 coming out of the game. And they're cognizant of that. And I think adding all these new features, you know, like revamping combat, adding PvP, adding dungeons, all these different things is really going to encourage people to put money into the game just to have fun playing the game, which is huge.
Yeah, I think the other thing that I was concerned about is retaining current users. Okay, so the Illuvium community is dedicated, right? And they're probably going to try out the game and stuff like that. But I would argue keeping them, getting them to spend, and so on and so forth, is significantly easier than acquiring new users. Now, we also want to acquire new users, but we cannot neglect the existing community if we want Illuvium to be successful in any way, because that helps. The proof cycle as well. Like when you go in and play, like when Destiny first launched or whatever, part of it was popularity. It's like, oh, a bunch of people playing this, now I want to try it. Right?
I have so many
Illuvium,
hundreds of hours in Destiny. I haven't played it in 3 years, but the first 2 years it was out, that's all I did. Loved
even
it.
I played it quite a bit when it came out. With Destiny 2 in particular, I absolutely loved it.
Yes.
But yeah, so you need to engage that existing community, and they're actually going to be doing that in two ways. One of them is one I was harping on about a lot, and I'm glad they're actually considering it. I don't know if
you get it, man.
Scoriox was on the council.
My advice in council, or he just kind of thought of himself, or he agreed with me at some point, or the team internally talked about. I don't know, but anyways, there's two things. So the first one is actually that they actually moved to Unreal Engine 5.6, and what this is going to allow them to do is change the way regions look on the fly, day-night cycles, fog, maybe some weather systems and things like that. That's not necessarily going to add a whole lot in general, but a player like me who's been in Brightland Steppes like 50 times, now I'm going into it in nighttime. And so it's not new, but it feels new enough to me that it actually makes it a bit more interesting and makes me enjoy the new content that's been added more because it's in a new context, which is really good. I think that's going to be big. The second one is that they've been talking about, these aren't official announcements or anything. They've been talking about when the MMO Lite does come out, they're going to sunset Set 1 Alluvials, and Set 2 Alluvials are going to start to come out, which I think is really important because I've already caught a lot of the Alluvials. I want a reason to go in and capture something new. If I want to fight this boss, sure, there's loot drops and things like that. We'll get into that soon, I'm sure. But like, if I'm fighting some new Alluvial, it's like, awesome. I really want to fight this thing and capture it. It gives me as an existing player a really big reason to play the game. It gives people who haven't quite touched Illuvium before, like maybe there's like a 2-month countdown until Set 1 ends. It gives all of them a reason to go, oh shit, all these Illuviums about to disappear. The game's looks pretty fun now. I better get in now and get trying the game. If I don't like it, no harm done. But if I do like it, I've only got 2 months to capture these new Illuvium, these old Illuviums.
Well, and you get people like me that do have at least some MMORPG back. I got in trouble with my wife because I played too much Star Wars Galaxies. I like literally, and that's super old school. That game is like 25 years old. I would see that and go, oh, they're coming out with a new season. All the season 1 stuff is going away. That means there will be a limited number of these things. And so if I can go in and get some, perhaps that will increase in value. And I think the beauty of being in Web 3 versus Web 2 is if we can find the transition to real world, like NFTs, which is what these Illuvials are NFTs. You can buy and sell them for real world money. Then you get into this is limited edition. If I hold on to this, people will be playing. We'll be in Generation 4, and they'll be like, oh man, I can buy a Gen 1, and I can buy it on the marketplace, but it's limited in its number, and so then the value goes up, and it becomes an investment. So.
Yeah, and I think people look at the low value of some Illuvials and things like that and go, oh, maybe they're not worth very much, and it's not worth going out and finding them and capturing them and things like that. But then you really think about it, and for a lot of the tier 5 stage 3s, really only under 1,000 of each of them exist at the moment, and more can be created because you can fuse Illuvials. That costs quite a bit, so it doesn't really change it. But if demand comes in and Leviathan starts to kick off, where you can actually use your Illuvials in different ways, then I expect that price to increase quite a bit at its current numbers. Now, a lot of people might capture it right before it stops being catchable or whatever, right? So I don't know. But at this very time, if right now it's not being catchable, it would definitely go up in value over time as the MMO Lite gets better and improves, which is quite exciting.
Well, and here's my argument for Web3 in general is, okay, you capture that Illuvial, it's worth $2. How much is that Call of Duty skin worth? What can you sell it for? Nothing.
Exactly.
You paid for it. Can you get any money back? Nope.
And on Scoriox's point about the demand for them increasing, they also did mention that they're going to be requiring some alluvials for some of the higher gear to fuse. Like, let's say you want to make this new fire chest piece, you need this certain fire alluvial to do that. So as he just said, they're implementing all these different ways to kind of add more demand for some of these low value creatures that people just don't really think are worth very much.
And really, as it should be, the alluvials are going to become essentially the currency of the game. That is always how I viewed Web3. Web3 token economies are always really, really odd. The only one that's ever really worked is, I would say, World of Warcraft's gold economy is fine, but it's botted to no end, and that's why bots are there. They're incentivized to make money from it. But I don't really like token economies. I see Web3 more as owning your NFTs and your assets, and really they take skill to acquire and things like that. And if you want prize payouts and stuff, just do a competitive scene of some kind, win skill-based competition against opponents, and that's how you win money, or entry fees and things like that. I love sit and go entry fee tournaments. I think Illuvium needs to do more of that stuff. I know that we're not quite jumping into it just yet. We are based in the DAO is based in Dubai, and Dubai obviously has very strict anti-gambling laws and things like that. So we're hoping to leverage third parties for that sort of stuff. But that's not really being discussed right now. Other things are the focus, but I would like that to
on down the road.
That come in play. Yes,
we still have a lot of. And this is important for people that are just new into the gaming space. Games take time to develop. Illuvium is still in testing and development. That's why things are changing month to month. It's still in development. They're still working on it. And that's how you know the project has some value, is for the last 3 years, even though the market's been down and money's been tight, they're still working and developing. So a lot of projects just went away.
And I think that's a big thing. I see a lot of videos and a lot of people, like Scoriox said on Twitter, like, oh, Illuvium's dead. It's not coming back. Like, the token's down 80, 90%. Like, the assets are worth nothing. They didn't give up. And I think that really shows, especially in the Web3 space. And again, JC, you make a great point. These things take tens of, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars to build, and years to build, and hundreds of people working on them to build. These are not small things that people can put together in a day. And crypto is very much about instant gratification. People want to see that overnight pump. And when you're in GameFi, you really got to be a special kind of degenerate, because you're really just waiting for something that's going to take years to finish. And that's why, like, you know, we really love when we see a project like Illuvium that is not only, you know, kind of down and out, maybe, so to speak, but they're still really putting things out. They're giving regular updates. They still have a great idea, great concept. The game looks incredible, guys. If you know, I'll throw some B-roll footage over this and show some of the graphics of the game, but I mean, it's just incredible. It's like, and Scoriox said, they're adding day and night cycles to just make it a little bit more interesting to play.
Yeah, and it annoys me sometimes when people make really odd comparisons. And my favorite one when it came out was, oh, Power World had like 40, 50 developers or whatever, and they built this game so cheap and in 3 or 4 years. I'm like, yeah, it was an incredible feat. They made a ton of money. But people only see the success at the end. They don't see everything else. Yeah. So Power World took, what, 3 or 4 years to build. However, before that, Pocket Pair developed a game called Craftopia. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. Maybe you can throw some B-roll of
if you can find it. I've never even heard of it.
Find it.
Craftopia looks identical to Power World. Identical. It flopped. It didn't do very much. Maybe it did just enough to keep them afloat. I don't know. It didn't do very much. Okay. Looks identical to Power World, except no pals. They basically they didn't spend 3 years building Power World. They spent 4 years building Craftopia, which is like a base template. Then they spent 3 years developing pals, putting them in Craftopia, revamping the map a little bit and things like that. But they had all those building blocks. And so when people say, oh, it took them 3 years and X amount of money to build, it's like, no, this is a studio that spent 10 plus years failing, getting all these assets, getting all these lessons and knowledge, and then using that to build a successful product. It's like that with everything. It's not just the gaming industry. YouTube is a really good example of that as well. Like Mr. Beast can't miss. He has so much money, and that's how he makes all the best videos. He just has a ton of money. He throws it out there. Mr. Beast took something like 12 years to hit 1,000 subscribers. Okay.
No, like So you don't know this
people
about
just
me.
ignore that.
Yeah, I love that. You see the success, you don't see the work
Yeah.
behind it.
This
And
is
uh,
so Reptar
yeah.
knows this. Scoriox, I know you and I don't know each other very well, but I did a stint doing some acting. Not successful, but I had a lot of fun doing it. But going to acting class for years, we would always say it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. That person that pops up on that first movie and they're just, oh my gosh, where did they come from? They've never been in anything before and they're amazing. They've been grinding for 10 years.
I think that's a great point. And that's the thing. Illuvium has been grinding. And I'm starting to see that. It's amazing to see them opening up to community ideas and questions and things that people are giving all of these. We should do this, we should add this. The lore has just really taken off. The lore is like incredible to me. I actually like the idea of the ancients, or I forgot exactly what they're called, but essentially like they find that there was this lost civilization on Illuvium that's gone now, and it's something to do with the Leviathans, these giant creatures that are inhabiting this world. And actually, yeah, I think I have it. I'm a huge nerd with the whole like lost civilization, like Mayan, Atlantis, all that stuff. So to me, that's just such a cool idea of like this lost civilization on Illuvium. And it sounds like a little thing, like Scoriox said with the day and night cycles, but that's stuff that gets people excited to like get into this world and learn about it. And this rebellious girl that's like, no, I'm gonna go do my own thing. Like, I don't care what you said. Like, it adds so many layers to the game. And I think it's amazing to see them adding all this stuff.
Yeah, there's so much. So for anyone who needs further context, there's some sort of ancients, and that's what the boss battle is going to be about. You're fighting one of the let's say robots that the ancients left behind. They're typically a lot more. I like the juxtaposition. The ancients and their tech tends to be quite technological, quite sci-fi. But the alluvials and the nature of the planet and things like that, that's a lot more fantasy. That's a lot more because creatures like based on animals, things like that, right? And so you have the full-on juxtaposition. And the ancients, the way I understood it was like they built these bubble domes because everything outside of these bubbles has leviathans, which are giant, terrifying creatures or whatever. And so the ancients were like, oh yeah, I don't want to go out there. I want to protect us in here.
Yeah.
There's still trouble in here, but at least those things aren't going to get us until we figure the next bit out. But they didn't quite make it. And so now it's up to the Rangers to leverage whatever they learned and their own learnings to try and escape. They're trying to get back to the ship and get out.
There is so much potential there for a long... I mean, you could take that story over 50 years. We should probably say that for Web3 gaming, it's got to be a game. It's got to be fun. Great, you can make money playing a video game, but if the game sucks and you don't like it, you're not going to play. So I'm a lore junkie on stuff. Like, if the game has good lore, that's why I love Destiny. If the game has good lore and good things to explore and figure out and like weave together to make a story, I love story. And if I can do that by myself running around, if I can do that with my friends and explore, like, I'm hooked. I'll play.
Yeah, so one of the mechanics you might like that they're adding in is discoverables and things like that, which is something we never had on the overworld. It was a really big thing that
I'll go hunting.
I think it was a really big thing that put Genshin Impact on the map when it first came out, where it gave you a lot of this completionist sort of stuff that you could do, where Genshin Impact was very much gacha, so you were trying to collect all the characters or whatever, I believe. I didn't play it a whole lot. But the other big thing was for those who were also completionists but didn't necessarily want to spend a ton of money, it was try and figure out all the little secrets in the map and try and uncover them, and you get like a progress bar for each area. I think Illuvium is going to do something along those lines as well. I don't know how easy or difficult it's going to be to complete, but it's just one of those, all the little things come together and they make for a game that's a lot more enjoyable. I think I can't think of a good example, but there are many games that do this really well where they have what you might call palette cleansers. I think The Witcher 3 did a pretty good job of this, where you're fighting bandits, monsters, or whatever, and then you hit up a town and this guy's like, I want to play you at Gwent. And you're like,
right,
okay, I want to play Gwent.
Break up the monotony, 100%.
Yeah, and then you go, oh crap, does anyone else want
that idea? Red Dead Redemption, Red Dead, that type of
Yeah.
similar. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna play poker now, like, or I'm gonna play the little, stab your hand knife game or whatever. Just something different to give you a little something different to do before you get back to the core gameplay.
Yeah, and I think a lot of games that do that really well, you see them be quite successful. And that's not easy because you can build two games in one, which is kind of a pain in itself. But Illuvium has a little bit of advantage where it can be like, you go up to another ranger, they're like, I want to play you out in an auto battle. And you take them on in an auto battle or something like that. Or maybe there's a different TCG that comes out or something like that. Or there's survival mode or whatever. And so you can get a little bit of that palate cleanser, but I'm hoping with things like the discoverables and the boss battle being its own thing, and capturing alluvials being its own thing, you can do this thing where you go, okay, I want to capture alluvials for a bit. All right, I'm a little bit tired of that for now. Maybe I'll go do the boss battle and see what loot drops. And that'll help me capture alluvial. So great. It's not going to disadvantage me to go split my focus.
Right.
Even in Gwent, it was a little bit like that because you get good armor and stuff if you're good at the game and things like that. But so I'm looking forward. I don't know how hard it's going to be to pull off. I think it's honestly, my initial thoughts are it's a bit ambitious. They seem pretty confident they're making good progress on it, as we heard from the town hall. So I'm willing to reserve judgment, but I'm not getting my hopes too high on this being like relatively deep in all these aspects. It might be deep in one of them.
It needs
and
time.
I don't
it
think it has to be enough,
time.
But yeah.
Well, and if you think about it, they've already built essentially 3-4 separate games. Like in a way, we have Arena, you have the Leviathan, or the Land, Illuvium Zero, and then you have a Arena, and then you have Overworld. And if they did implement something like a TCG where you're using the discs and the creatures you collected the discs to do a card style game, I mean they've already made 3 games as it is now. So I've always seen them be very ambitious. The team is incredibly
probably too ambitious, and that's okay.
but that's the thing. That's not always a problem, But I do think that it seems like they've realized they've bitten off a little more than they can chew. But I really do appreciate how hard that they are working on this game and all of the updates that we are getting.
Well, thankfully they're doing one thing at a time now. We've already seen the benefits that have come with that. So for anyone who's unaware, they said, okay, shit, we're wasting so much time because we're trying to do everything at once. And they said, everyone get off Illusion Zero, everyone get off the overworld, do the arena. In about 3 months, they revamped, fixed the entire thing, added all the new features in. It's polished, it's so much more stable now. The game is really, really good. I personally do believe it competes with Web 2. Most people will say it's got nothing on TFT. That's perfectly fine. TFT has a lot more content and things like that, and it's probably a bit more polished in terms of balance, generally speaking. But the Illuvium Arena is an incredibly good game, and they're almost done optimizing all the assets. But now everyone's going on to the overworld. But what's really hyped about that is they had about a month ago, they moved maybe 2 or 3 developers onto the overworld to work on it. And the progress these people have actually done on the MMO Lite, I use them interchangeably, on the MMO Lite in that month with just 3 developers has actually been a lot. I've seen a little bit of behind the scenes stuff as well. I was surprised at how much they've actually completed. But now, they're moving everyone onto it, okay? Everyone's probably already just moved onto it now, but they're moving everyone onto it. And so I wonder how fast it's going to be developed now.
So it's all hands on deck now.
A lot more focus and proper director leading the charge with it all. Clearly, they're doing something right now. Things are moving faster than they ever have before. So I'm excited. I'm always skeptical, but I'm excited.
Let me say,
hey, it's okay to be skeptical and excited. That's where we lie as well. So.
I am super happy to see you back on the excited side. I know there was a period, I don't know, maybe 4, 5, 6 months ago where I would watch your videos and you're like, I'm kind of frustrated and maybe I'm a little burned out on Illuvium and maybe I need to start looking at other content and developing other game stuff and. I'm excited to see you back excited because that makes me like, okay, Scoriox is back excited. He's super bullish on these changes. So, all right, here we go. It's Illuvium time.
And I mean, so are we too. When we saw all of the updates and stuff, we were like, wow, because there's more to the team than you guys always see. We got three other core members, and then we have a lot of mods and stuff. And that was kind of the community sentiment is people were kind of getting burned out. They were getting a little bored. They were nervous about land and token price. And, we were kind of in the same boat. We were kind of just questioning, and rightfully so. I mean, there wasn't a lot that we had to hold on to. But now, seeing all of these different updates that are coming, the work that they're putting into this, they're open to community reception. I mean, these are all great things that we're excited to see,
Yeah, and I'm excited for the space as a whole as well. Right now, I'm super in love with Wilder World more than ever before. I'm really excited for their what is it, Wyoming.fun or whatever they're coming out with. I'm very hyped for that. But Wilder World's doing some really cool stuff. I've seen the Star Atlas update today. I downloaded it, haven't had a chance to play it just yet. But that looks really fun too. And then there's a few other things, a bunch of proof of play stuff coming out, the Gigaverse stuff. I obviously love all of that. And there's just the space. It just feels like it's thriving. A lot of games have shut down, but everyone that's still here, they're moving faster than ever, and they're getting to that point in a typical, just in gaming industry in general, they get to that point of the typical development cycle where stuff starts to get really interesting, which is just, as you guys said at the start of this, just games take time, but we're finally at the point where we're starting to see what that means, and I'm looking forward to it.
Most of the big game developers out there are just repackaging the same stuff year after year. Call of Duty is doing the third Black Ops in a row. The old gaming AAA guys are not developing new content. And you see a lot of developers that want to make fun games, they're leaving. They're leaving Ubisoft. They're leaving, EA, because they want to make fun stuff. And I think the legacy gaming guys are losing people and just repackaging the same stuff over and over again because it makes them money. But that, coupled with the Web3 gamers, gaming studios ramping up into this, as we run into this bull market, they're having more money to spend. They're getting the developers who have a passion for developing games. I don't know. Maybe it's not this cycle, but I think we're seeing a shift into what will eventually be the next evolution of gaming.
Yeah, I definitely think that a lot of these, I still think a Web 2 company is going to come in and implement Web 3. I mean, the rumor that everyone talks about is Grand Theft Auto 6. Everyone's heard it. They're like, Grand Theft Auto 6 is doing crypto. I mean, it would be great if they did. I mean, I wouldn't hold my breath for it, but we talked about this yesterday on the show. There's not a huge jump from microtransactions to cryptocurrency in the current landscape. So I feel like, we're going to have these Web3 games that do really well and get people's attention, but I really don't think we're going to see mass adoption. And this is just my opinion, but I don't think we're going to see mass adoption until a Web2 studio that's already established makes everyone familiar with it. Like, hey, we're adding crypto. This is how you use it. And people are familiar with it now. And then they're like, oh, okay, this isn't as bad and as scary as I thought it was. Maybe I should go check out some of these Web3 games that are making lots of money. So it'll be interesting to see who does it right first, I guess. But Illuvium has been around for a long time. They've proved themselves. They have an incredible game. They're making updates. So I've never been more excited about the gaming space because, again, we've just come out of the bear market. We're about to go into alt season, and these projects have some all of the projects, as Scoriox just said, even big time too. They're all ramping out big updates coming soon, and the timing is not an accident. They're waiting for alt season. Let's get it.
So this sort of stuff just kind of happens, and it's an important way of free markets. Really, is a lot of things have to die so that everyone else can improve, and competition is thriving and successful and things like that, and we can get there. So. But on your note on AAA games, I agree. I think a AAA game will have to implement crypto to force people to familiarize, and then they'll become more adept to it. But at the same time, I think we've been in this age for maybe 2 or 3 years now, but it's the age of indie gaming. People are playing indie games more than they ever have before. But the problem is that doesn't actually mesh with crypto games are very much indie, but not in the same way. The indie games we're referring to are like Slay the Spire, Balatro, Expedition 33. They're all the same. You pay an upfront fee, an upfront cost to buy the game, and then you play the game. And Web3 gaming, because it's so much built around economies and things like that, it's all live service, it doesn't really work the same way. I think someone who can figure out how to do that with Web3, that's going to be really interesting. Because, Slay the Spire is a pretty interesting example because you could go, oh yeah, make all the cards NFTs. But anyone who's played the Slay the Spire knows that that wouldn't really work. Slay the Spire is most interesting because the cards you get fresh every single time you play the game, and they're random as you play through it and things like that. And so it doesn't really fit in the Web3 scenario. And a lot of really successful modern games and modern indie games are the same. They wouldn't really work as Web3 titles. What's the bridge in the middle there? It's really interesting. I don't quite know what it is yet. I think subscription models are one way, where it's not so much about spending money all the time and things like that. You're just spending a flat fee. People seem to enjoy World of Warcraft still for the most part. And then the subscription model is just like, it's your fee to play the game, or a one-time purchase of a game and it has NFTs and you can use it and engage with it, or you don't have to. You bought the game, you bought the game. And the problem is like botting and things like that, but really it's not that whole lot you can do about that without just making the game a bad experience to get into in the first place. And that's the thing that people need to navigate. I think Wilder World, I think, probably acknowledged this pretty well, and their strategy is actually go for the crypto audience, less so the gaming audience, which I think is in the short term maybe a better strategy for actually player acquisition in this space at the moment, until, like you said, the gamers come and they're like, okay, this crypto thing's pretty cool. I do actually want to play crypto games now, but who knows when that might happen.
I think the key there is the key to crypto in general, and that's we use this analogy all the time. Do you know how TCP/IP works? I don't know.
No.
I type my email and I click send. Do you know how blockchain works? No. I play my video game and I get stuff and make money. Like, they don't need the gamers don't need to understand crypto. They just need to like the game and realize, oh, well, I can play this game and maybe make a few bucks. That's it. That's all they need to know.
It's a travesty that it's taken this long for not necessarily gaming, crypto companies to understand that shit. You know, like, I've been in crypto for maybe 5 or 6 years, 5 probably. I've been in crypto for 5 freaking years. Only 6 months ago, MetaMask added in a thing where now it'll just use whatever tokens you have for your gas fee.
Yeah.
Instead of you having to have
pick,
ETH in your wallet. Why did MetaMask not introduce that day one? I know it's probably hard because of liquidity layers and shit, but like, that is the number one. That should, if I'm a UI UX designer by day, like sometimes.
Oh, okay.
I mostly do renders and things, but I'm a UI UX designer. I have been for, I've done a lot of that sort of stuff. I write a list of things that I think my user needs to make this experience good. That would have been number one. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. Would have been number one.
User interface is one of the most important things that you can design for a user. Obviously, the people that need to use it.
I'm sorry, I don't learn coding. I just type an email. Like, who cares? Make it easy for me to use.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and like, it's not even, that's what I'm saying, it's not even isolated to crypto gaming. Crypto didn't even make it freaking easy. Right. How is crypto gaming going to leverage those rails to make it easy themselves? And now that's why we started getting things like the immutable passport wallet and then the abstract global wallet. They were like, oh yeah, well, people can't use crypto. Crypto's a bitch, and they never want to make it easy for people. I don't know why, but they don't. So we're going to make our own wallet now. And now that they have, it's starting to get easier and easier. I'm just waiting for everything to link together seamlessly. If immutable passport and abstract global wallet linked together through some sort of perma liquidity bridge thing, they would dominate.
You just have to click buttons. You don't need to move stuff. You don't need to transfer assets. You just go click, and it happens. That's when people adopt it.
And I'm sure it'll happen, but again, it's early in the technology. It's kind of like when people are like, oh, I gotta use, someone can't use the phone while I'm using the internet, and I gotta dial into the internet. Like, that was a pain in the ass. You had to hear the sound. You know what I mean?
You never dialed up. You were never.
You're
too young.
I remember dial up. Okay, I just didn't really use it. Okay, I remember the sound, but I'm older than I look, I promise, JC.
You only adopted the dial-up. I was born into it.
But yes, you don't know what we had to deal with. But again, it's going to be us in 10 years talking about blockchain. You know, these things are so early; they need time to. You know, we're going to talk about the back in my day, we had to bridge our assets.
Like, okay, Grandpa.
Why do we call it bridging? Even today, I was like trying to figure out which AVAX bridge is the most popular or whatever. I don't know why I can't find a result on that shit. And I'm just like, I just remembered, I'm like, oh, MetaMask finally added this shit for me. So I just went to MetaMask and went bridge. MetaMask is killing me on fees, but I don't give a fuck. I don't have time to waste for
easy. And that needs to be the model, I think, for crypto companies, crypto gaming developers. Like, don't make your fee selling people stuff. Make your fee on all the transactions they have to make. Make it small so that they don't care. They're like, yeah, I'll pay a 2% transaction fee because it's easier for me to go click and it's done.
Yeah. And that's powerful.
That's one option.
People do it. If people will spend money to make things easier.
I pay Coinbase every time I move crypto. I pay Coinbase. They take a fee. Like,
they're all evil.
MetaMask makes a
100%.
fee. All of the exchanges make their money on transaction volume. They don't make money.
There's some big stuff going on with the exchanges right now.
Crypto.com, Yeah. Anyway, sorry. That's that's outside the scope of this conversation.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess we can wrap up here, guys. But seriously, thank you so much, man, for joining us and for just wrapping with us, talking about all these new updates, because we're excited. Again, we have a couple thousand people in our Discord, and we host gaming events every week. And part of the biggest thing with Big Time, the reason we love playing so much, is because we get to go in as a group. We get to play together, and there's this huge social aspect of it. And again, like, that's a huge thing that Illuvium is adding that I think is really going to bring in a lot of new players and get people excited about the game again. Like, we're gonna be running around together, and then you're gonna see Scoriox running around randomly, and you're like, I'm going after him. Let's go. Like, it's
1v1 me, Scoriox. 1v1 me. Okay, wait. Sorry. That's something else.
And excited for Illuvium's future. I'm excited for the future of the entire space. But it is going to take some time, and people need to continue being patient with it, unfortunately. And anyone who is, I think they will reap the rewards at the end.
Yep. It's not a bad time to spend a little money in the Illuvium ecosystem.
It's not. And the thing is, guys, the main thing is, if you're looking for a game that you can come in, hang out with a bunch of degenerates, have fun, try out a game that's not even out yet, and make some money doing it. Like, how does that not sound fun? And the thing is, at first, it kind of wasn't, like, the game wasn't finished yet. And it's not the game's fault. It's just the nature of the industry. But now we're getting to that point where these games are all building out. They're all fun. And we're able to, go in together. And, we have different guilds and stuff that are all, going in together, competing. Like the Leviathan arena is going to be huge. People, PvP. There's so much to look forward to, and I'm all about it. I'm here for it.
And for anyone who's keen on it, the Illuvium competitive scene is starting very, very soon. It's how we should be doing play to earn in every game.
Yes.
But it's very, very exciting. If you haven't learned the arena yet, I recommend jumping in and getting a start on learning it. You will not be disappointed. This is going to get crazy. It's going to get crazy.
Tell me if this is an accurate metaphor. It's Magic the Gathering from your childhood, or Pokemon or Digimon, meets an auto battler, meets esports arena, like, with prizes.
I love that you threw in Digimon.
I don't know.
Say that Digimon doesn't get enough love.
I said Digimon. I was thinking Yu-Gi-Oh, and I said Digimon, and just like that. You go back far enough, and it's just card games playing back and forth, and there's some strategy involved in selecting your cards or selecting your deck, which is how I view the monsters, because I'm old. Like, you have your deck of monsters that cost various things, and you can play them however you need to play them, but there's strategy involved, and my son loves, like, the depth of strategy in Arena, of the different elements and the different attacks, and you've got healers, and you've got stealth, and you've got range, and you've got defense, and all the stuff that you can evolve. And there's a depth there that can lead to some great strategic battles. But it's also this, like, graphically amazing, like, battle that's really cool.
Yeah, and we just got the spectator mode. And so in the game, you can already do this. You can, like, fly around. This is unheard of in auto battlers of all kinds. But you can fly around. You get up nice and close and see the Illuvials battling each other. It actually looks stunning.
Yeah.
And that's what's particularly exciting about the MMO Lite, is with the auto battler, because you're mostly zoomed out and stuff like that, you don't really get to benefit from all the work that's gone into these creatures. The MMO Lite's a bit different. You will be able to get benefit from that a lot more, because it's standing right next to you in all its glory, fighting, whatever, right? The auto battle, you can zoom in, check out the fights and things like that. But it is a really deep strategy game, free to play. Anyone can just jump in and play it and get started.
Free to play.
It is a little bit difficult. It's they definitely need a tutorial. Next up, hopefully a tutorial is coming very, very soon. But once you learn it, it can be pretty addictive because you just want to get better. The players that are currently playing are absolute monsters. But there's going to be prize pools that make it worth it if you get better at the game.
Let's go. We got a couple monsters on our team too that we're like they're gonna kill it in the competitive scene. It's not me. It's not JC.
No. It's like Reptar and I need to be the like. You guys remember BattleBots? And they had the commentators like hype, like Joe Rogan type commentators hyping up the BattleBots. Yeah, that needs to be me and Reptar. Just, oh, did you see that Rapfire?
That's good. It gets good for some content. Love it.
It gets really interesting too with guild side of things because in the Leviathan mode you have all your owned alluvials and their stats and things play a role in the game. That one's not so much free to play. Technically anyone could play it for free, but you're going to get stopped. Okay, but
yeah,
you have all your alluvials and their stats and things count. And when we saw the Leviathan, the first Leviathan tournament was coming out where Kieran's fronting the prize pool and everything, a bunch of people go out on Twitter. They're like, okay, I've rented out all my. I couldn't manage to compete this time. I rented out all my alluvials on the Polemos platform. You can go rent them out for the event if you need something stronger. That's where guilds get really interesting because you can pool all of your strongest alluvials into a thing so that your champion fighter has the best possible chance and can bring back the prize pool to the rest of the guild. I think that's exciting,
right? And
that is really.
I think rental across any type of metaverse, gaming or just Web3 or any type of metaverse play going forward in that realm. Renting your assets out is going to be long-term how people sustain themselves financially. Because AI and robots are going to take over everybody's job. So what's your job? Well, I'm going to rent out my alluvials to my guildmate, and we're gonna pool. I have this one awesome alluvial. I'm going to rent it out to him, and he's going to gather all these together, and he's going to compete. And we're going to win this, $100,000 prize or whatever, and we're going to split it amongst the guild members who provided some of the stuff. And like that's going to be the way. And if you're not in a guild, you go, well, yeah, but I captured this one super powerful. I'm going to rent it out for here. I'm going to put it up on the rental thing. Who's going to pay me the most?
Yep.
Yeah, and it doesn't even stop there. Just buying the alluvials isn't enough, and I think that's what not enough games do. Like I've talked shit about this a bit because I think it's painful to do this part of the process, which is what I dislike about it. But I do think it's an important part of this entire ecosystem where you need to level up the alluvials as well. Their levels play a role.
You got to play.
If your Axodon is level 40, then it's not going to be nearly as strong as an Axodon that's level 60 with the same stats. And so you've got to level them up, but you don't necessarily have the time to do that. And some people might really like to do that. So not only are you renting them out, you're paying someone to level them up for you in whatever system exists. It might just be playing the game, or it might be Illuvium 0, it might have a way to do that, things like that. So there are different ways to do that. And yeah, as you said, you need to play the game. But that's why I'm also really hyped for the MMO Lite. And we need to level up these alluvials. I think it's going to be more exciting for all the other games in Illuvium's ecosystem as well.
That's a great point, man. Yep. I actually didn't think about it like that, and that's going to be really cool to see. Like, renting is going to be, we see it being a big thing in a lot of other games that we play. So the idea of renting an alluvium is going to be exciting for us for sure as a guild. Sure, for you guys too, for Wildfire and everything. So
I can't wait.
Yeah. So Scoriox, let's tell everyone where they can find you. We'll have your links in our description here. So if people need more Scoriox information and want to keep up with the absolute latest in Illuvium, how do they find you?
My two main platforms are YouTube and Twitter. On YouTube, I post mostly Illuvium content, but I'm trying to do all sorts of stuff. I'm trying to go more of a AAA Web3 gaming sort of route. Maybe not so much off the grid just yet, because I rarely have time to play it, but I want to talk more about Wilder World, Star Atlas, Illuvium, and off the grid all the time as much as I can. And I've got my new studio now, so I'm looking forward to making even more content.
I'm still in my basement.
Should be an easier time for me. And then there's Reptar with like the crazy villain chair over there. The first thing
I know, right?
So, everyone calls it the Dr. Evil.
He needs a cat and just be like, my kid did.
But yeah, on Twitter it's a lot more general. I try to post a lot of threads and things. I haven't done any a little bit because I was moving, but I love posting longer form threads, and there are much more broader topics, crypto gaming in general, abstract, Immutable X, Illuvium, and a lot of other stuff too. So if you want more general crypto gaming thoughts, news, and other things, then I post a heap there. And I'm out of my personal life and creator stuff as well. Like if you want any help from a creator, sometimes I post things about my findings in my analytics and things like that. And I have fun doing so. But it's really more YouTube's my more really creative expression, and Twitter's more just like my mental expression, just everything I jot down on a page.
It just all comes out on Twitter, as most people know. But yeah, guys, honestly, Scoriox has been, in the industry for years. He's a wealth of knowledge. If you guys have any questions or want to learn more about Illuvium, he is the one that you should be going to. Go subscribe. And again, thank you so much, Jason, for hopping on with us and getting everything, out. We know a lot of our community members have been waiting for a lot of these updates for a while. They've been kind of waiting in the wings for Illuvium, and I just, I feel like the wind's back in the sails, and we're ready to go. So.
Yeah, I think we're a little bit behind some of the people that are doing killer stuff in the space right now. Even though we had a huge lead to begin with, but
right.
They're grinding, they're working. They want to get it right. Honestly, I think they're almost trying to go too perfect with it all over again.
Perfectionist for sure.
It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm excited that they're. It seems like they've got it back on track. And like you said, we lost a little bit of momentum there, but a lot of people did. And Illuvium didn't fail and didn't quit. And they're back on track. They've got it going the right way. They're making huge developments really quickly, but that's because they have some good bones to work on. So it will continue to be a work in progress. There will be some missteps. There will be some things that are awesome, and eventually we'll get to a product release. Because I would say we're still somewhere in the alpha beta testing phase. So we'll get there. So long as they don't quit and they're willing to take feedback, which obviously the team is great at. Taking the community feedback and just trying to figure out what works. And if it doesn't work, they're okay. They don't have enough pride to say, no, this is the way it is. That didn't work. We're going to scrap that and try something else. So
they're never going to back down. And whenever I give investing advice to anyone, it's you don't invest in a product, a project, a service. You invest in a team. My faith in the Illuvium team themselves has never wavered. I've been critical of some of the decisions they've made and things like that, but I know that the team is capable. I know that the team is learning, and once they figure it out, they will be a lot better at what they do. But I know that they're never going to quit, and they're going to keep pushing until it's perfect, until it's right. Or it's going to kill them.
Yep.
And that's what you want in a captain, right? You want them to go down with the ship.
Nothing. Let's go.
Yeah. I have no doubt that that's what's going to happen here. If it doesn't work out, but I know that they have the determination to see it through, because that's what it's going to take for any of these Web3 games, and that's who you need to back in this space.
Yep. Scoriox, again, thank you so much for taking the time. I know it's late where you are. It's bedtime for you. Reptar and I just got up and had our caffeine, so. Man, I look forward to playing with you in the near future, and thanks a million for being here with us.
It's going to be so much fun, guys. I swear. All right, have a good one, guys.
Thanks.
You too, man. Take it easy.